So here we are in the middle of the winter, and all of a sudden in the middle of the winter we have a day it's going to be 60 degrees out. I had no idea, because I haven't really even been checking the weather, the temperatures. 60 degrees means I have to sequence up a whole different day than I started out with. Now it's still damp and it's still drizzling a little bit out there, but I definitely will be able to do some painting today. And I'm not sure, because we haven't seen Steve yet. He's still in wherever the hell he is. I think he's in jail, to be honest. But I can't wait for him to come over and see this in the next day or so. What I had to do is make room on the workbench here, because one of the jobs I have to do is get the clear on those decals. That would probably be the smartest thing would be get that done first. Well, it's 60 degrees all right, and you could be out here in a t-shirt today, but not looking like the rain is going to stop anytime soon, even though it's supposed to. But the thing is, what I wanted to do is I wanted to get the clear on the decals, and I better do it before it starts raining again. I always like to check all in the morning, give me a little inspiration checking this out. This is our sample of the final yellow, and that's what I'm going to try to do, is let that age as long as possible before I buff it out. And the rest of our project is right on track for, well, we're going to be ready for these decals very soon. If you look over here, they've been drying up. Not even drying up, I got to get the clear on them today. I wish they were drying up. I'm ready to install them. And I'm going to try my little experiment to see if, well, I don't know. I thought this was a good way to keep it from curling up. But again, we'll find out. It's very important at this point I don't get any fingerprints on them, any schmutz on them. I don't want any squirrels walking across them, or birds pooping on them, or whatever. And boy, every time I look at that, I think that's going to look pretty cool once it's done. So I'll mix up some 5-star clear, and I'm going to let that dry overnight. And the good news is it's not raining for the last hour or so, so I better take advantage of this time window. Now, of course, the main thing on all of this is I don't want any fingerprints on them. I put a brand new set of gloves on. I don't want the tape peeling up. What I'm going to try to do is just use very low air pressure. I just want to get the thinnest coat on here that'll seal it. I'm not trying to build up a coat of clear like you would on a paint job. And of course, this is very delicate. I just want to make sure there's no dust or no squirrel droppings or anything on there. Now I want to figure some way I can put this so I can paint it. See, I'm thinking, that's not good. I want to have something flat. I got to go make some kind of way of painting this out on the work table. So what I did, and this is a good idea because it looks like our 60-degree day is turning into a storm rolling in day. I tried to get this right in the corner to minimize the amount of wind that's going to blow. I don't want to have the dust any longer here. So once I put the parts out here, you get a light coating on, I'll get them right immediately into the garage where it'll be less prone for things falling on them. The idea is to get one thin coat on and get as minimum of dust or anything, because we're not going to obviously not going to buff this out. Now what I did, I set the gun for very low air pressure. It's about 25 pounds. And I just tried to use it like a giant airbrush with the fan set all the way out. Because what I'm really trying to do is just get a very thin coating, just right to the point where I start to see a gloss. And then I'm done. I don't want to turn it into a clear coat, where like I get a clear coat apart and it's There's just too much material on it. I hope that'll minimize the curling at the edges after I do the cutting, especially on a big FZR decal. Now by having that air pressure really low, it looks like I'm getting just the right amount on there. I hope. It looks, well, to me it looks okay. In the past I put I put big thick wet coats on. I don't think it was necessary. It didn't add anything, and of course we can always add more, but I think that's just the right amount. Now I'm really happy the way this worked out, because a very simple reason. We are losing the weather by the minute out there. And, well, now that that clear is on there, now I can have coffee. I really wanted to get this done before it started raining. And I did that, what I did, tried to turn the spray gun into a giant airbrush, low pressure, very little material, and the fan set all the way out. So what I would do is go one way, the opposite way, actually four powder coats on these. I think that's going to work out really well. Again, we'll find out tomorrow when we come out here and harvest our decals. So what I thought I'd do, and I thought this would be something that would be of some value to some people in our circle of friends, circle of family and friends. Some people, now let's start at the very beginning. Anybody doesn't know where Harbor Freight is, either online or in the real world, you should. You can get the coupons, you get another 20% off. Now this is I wanted to show like a box opening of one of these. I don't think I've ever done this. You buy this, and let me just get this apart, since we're not saving a box. We don't really care about the box, like we're going to return it. The basic thing, why is this a good gun for our use? Basically, if I had $300–400, you can start buying professional grade guns. If you're going to use them all day, every day, there'd be some advantage, I'm sure. But for a hobbyist like I am, or somebody that does this not full-time, not 8 hours a day, this is a fine tool. Now, the price is usually about $14, but you always get 20% off. But there's a couple of do's and don'ts on these, and I thought I'd share them. And this is like what I call an unboxing. The kids that do Hot Wheels, oh, it's an unboxing. Let's see what it looks like. Well, basically they give you directions. They're of some value. If you've never painted anything ever before, you'll want this. There's a warranty. Not sure for a $9 spray gun you want a warranty. They give you a cleaning brush, which is useful, so we can save that. But here's the part, maybe that there's some information here that would be of some value. You take this out of the package. You take this out of the package. Now let's pretend you've never ever painted anything in your life. You bought a compressor, and it can be the smallest little pancake compressor. You'll just have to wait as it builds up pressure. You can't, like you're painting a car. For painting a motorcycle, you can paint with a pancake compressor. A couple of things that are important with this. The threads, they've changed these threads over the years. Some are fine threads, some are a rougher thread, and they don't interchange. So the first thing I try, boy, I'm getting a cold. First thing I always try is make sure they didn't have an old cap and a new one, because if you don't have a matching set, it'll leak. If it leaks, you can put masking tape around here, or I put a sock around, Gorilla Tape. Your vent cap is right here. You want to keep that open. This is very, very simple to do. You don't want to use a wrench on this. You want it to be hand tight. A lot of times if it's loose, now that's just hand tight, and I'm certainly not a bodybuilder, it can drip. One drip here. If you notice my spray guns, they always have some paint on them. Because I have the paint on my, basically on my gloves and everything. Doesn't change anything. It's fine. So once this is tight, you notice right on the cap, it tells you can go 20 to 70 pounds. Well, the reason I'm showing this, I just turned this into a big airbrush. I used 20, 25 pounds. Not sure our compressors gauges are that accurate anyway, but low pressure. This is the fan adjustment. What this means is if I turn this one way, it's going to make the fan very small. If I turn it all the way the other way, it's going to widen it up. Very easy to adjust, self-explanatory. This is a little pressure tap. In here it tells you what pressure you can use. If I turn this out, I'm going to have more pressure. In, I'm going to have less pressure. Now what I do, I bypass this all the way. I just open this up all the way. And I adjust the pressure at the compressor for whatever I want, because I have a very accurate gauge on the compressor. This is going to allow you to put, if you turn this in, less pressure. You turn it out, material, I should say. So, but the good place to start, and this is your dead stop, a good place to start, what I found is I've taken these right out of the box, just like what I just did. Put on a pressure fitting so you can hook your compressor up. What I always do before I spray anything is I take this tip off, because a lot of times there's machining or filings or things in there that I want to make sure that this is tight. Hand tight is plenty good. And there's 8 little tiny holes in this. This is a 1.4 tip. You'll see there's 8, and they are so tiny. I'm not sure I can even show this with a macro lens. I'm not sure. But you always want to hold this up to a light bulb and make sure you don't have anything clogged in there or in these 2 passages. Once that's done, a brand new gun that's never been used, I'd put a couple of shot glasses of thinner, and you can use the cheapest lacquer thinner that you can buy to clean a gun, or urethane thinners a little bit more. Throw some thinner in there and just spray away, get a feel for the gun, how it's spraying. And what I like to do is turn this until it doesn't spray anything at all. Then back out about a turn and a half, and that's a good starting point. Take this, go all the way one way, all the way the other way, and then go right about in the middle to start with. If you're going to use the compressor, the gauge on your compressor, just back this out and just leave it there. And now, believe it or not, here you are for basically under 10 bucks, maybe 12 with the fitting. You can become a hobbyist sprayer, and you can learn how to spray. But however, you do need some paint to spray. So if you ever notice in my shop, there's spray guns everywhere. Little ones, small touch-up guns, big ones. There's a couple little rules of engagement that are worth knowing. This is the gun we just used, and by the way, this is a good way to load and unload the gun with paint. Have a vise handy, and don't overdo it. These little water filters, they seem to help, but I don't think it's critical. I have them on some guns, not on other ones. Not a big deal. The compressor I have, I just bought this in the last year, and it's a noisy thing. I've made with John Pothia's idea, we made a little muffler for it. It's still noisy. It's still, I wish I could put it in my neighbor's kitchen or something and just run a tube over here. But a couple of things about these guns that are worth knowing. Now, here's the thing. As these guns get older and they're in service, and I have them all over the shop, you can see they're hanging up. They're hanging up here. Some have parts missing. Some have, I don't even know where some of them are. There's one back there. But the point is, we probably have 24 of them all together. The point is, it's a good idea if you're going to be practicing to have a gun for each color. So in other words, I have a gun that has white in it. I have a gun that has yellow. We had a gun, oh here it is. I had a gun for Steve's red. Always a gun with black. And it doesn't, see, this is one of the ones that starts to leak after a while. But the point is, none of this. The beautiful thing about paint, there's a thing about paint that's kind of unique. It's not like welding. You weld something and you cut it in half and now you can't fix it. And paint, you can always take the paint off and you can start all over again. So to practice it, there's a couple of rules of engagement that you need to know. If you're just gonna start out from ground zero, that's the whole idea of what we do, is to share information. Good example, this is Turbo Steve's Red. If you buy this paint, modern, this is modern car paint, actually, that's what it is. There's always a little code. You want to save that code. Steve takes a picture of it with his phone. You always want to mix that 50-50 and get it pretty accurate with 50% thinner. What seems to work good in our shop is mid-temp thinner, and this is 733. So you have 50-50. So if you buy yourself a can of paint, this is about $35 at where we buy it. I'm not sure what the thinner is. Steve bought the last one. But anyway, if you buy a gallon, of course, it's half a third the price less. So, but anyway, if you mix this 50-50, that's a good starting point to go and paint something. And then keep in mind, this is my paint room. It's a mess. There's no doubt about it. This is messy work. This is not a hospital ward. You would not want to do eye surgery out here or anything. But the point is, things get painted out here, and we try to spend the time and energy on the parts of things that matter and sharing the information, making these videos every day. So here's my point, and I know this may be a little boring to watch. To get this quality of finish, the information is all available on the videos that I post every day. And I'm not going to go back over that over and over again, but a lot of people that want to start this get inspired. Let's say you have an old motorcycle, you've dropped it, you want to know how to put some Bondo in it. Well, you want to make it look like this. Well, watch all the videos. That's all I can say. It takes time and energy, but it doesn't take a lot of money. This is the good news. You need the spray gun that I just did a little show and tell on. And I wanted to do, let's get the spray gun out of here. I wanted to show a part like this that's really a nice finish, a good quality finish, way better than a factory finish, way better, not even close. To do that, a lot of sanding involved. Again, all the information's on the video to the best of my ability. But anything plastic or fiberglass I like to use, or that has old paint, primer, sealer. You're down to raw metal, not critical, and you could use self-etching primer. But we've found out, and Steve was the one who bought the first can of this, this works really well on plastic and going over old paint. So you would have a couple of coats of primer, and you would have your mix of paint, and you'd practice on some light bulbs. Fluorescent light bulbs are great, by the way. Save empty beer cans to paint. Usually the way this would work, you could go from 2 to 5 coats of primer, depending on how many times you're going to sand it out. Sanded between coats. I like to have on most colors, maybe except for black, 3 colors, 3 coats of 50-50 mix. And if you put 4, nothing bad happens. The last coat may be sanded with some 1500, 1200, touch it up, and then the big thing. And you want to wear a mask, of course, when you're doing the clear. This gets mixed 4 to 1. A gallon of this, I'm not sure what it is now. It was about 80 bucks the last time I bought it anyway. But maybe it's 100 now. But you can buy this even online and delivered right to your house. But I found in my shop the thing that made a difference, the fast hardener. Because the part when it's wet, when this part is wet, it's fly paper. And it's wet for about an hour sometimes in cold temperature. And here comes, Buzzy Bee. And here comes Sammy the squirrel. Ooh, it looks like a banana. I'll take a bite. And so you always have that vulnerability. Then as soon as it cures up, as soon as I can do this without leaving my fingerprint in it, I bring it inside and put it by a heating vent. Or the other way, if I get my nose right up on it and I can't smell the chemicals outgassing, then it's ready to, I call it cooking. In other words, put it up by the heating vent. And all of this, there's actually, all the restorations I've done are somewhere on that channel. There's coming up on 1,400 videos pretty soon. But it is. Some people don't care. They just want to watch for entertainment. And some people, like myself, you're always digging for better quality information. And of course, I want to thank all the people that share their adventures on YouTube. Even the adventures I just enjoy watching. Some of them, well, a lot of them I learned from, and I hope a lot of people have learned from my good and bad experiences. So this day started off looking like it was going to be 60 degrees and sunny. Didn't exactly play out the way I wanted. But I did get the decals sprayed. I think I was able to share some good quality information if you're new to this. And let's face it, not one person I know has ever been born knowing this. You learn it, you accumulate a skill. What I did, and this is, I have a little from this project, I had a little bit of clear left over. What I did, I know this part of the motorcycle is going to take a tremendous beating. This is going to get stones thrown at it for the whole life of the motorcycle. So what I did, I used up the clear that I had in the gun on the fender parts. And these fender parts, of course, this is right in the front of the motorcycle where it takes all the hits of the stones and the bugs. Rather than just throwing it over the fence at the neighbor's car, I figured I'd use it up on my project. So by sequencing out this day, I think we've got a lot done. And there's always a project here. And when one project ends, I'm not even done with it, and I'm already thinking about the next project. And I always encourage everybody, especially people that are retired, stay busy. Have a project in your life and enjoy it. Do something you enjoy. And to be very candid and honest, this is what I enjoy. And by sharing it, I enjoy it even more. So I hope you've enjoyed the video and picked up some good information. And thanks for watching.